Laziness isn't a bad habit, it's a disease. It doesn't hit you like a car crash, it creeps in like poison. You don't even notice it until it's too late. It starts small. You say, I'll start tomorrow. You say, I just need one day to rest. You tell yourself, I deserve a break. But the truth is, you're lying to yourself. You're feeding a monster that's slowly taking over your life. Every time you skip a workout, every time you delay a plan, every time you hit snooze on your alarm, you're giving that monster more power. Laziness isn't harmless, it's the silent killer of ambition. The world doesn't destroy most people, their comfort does. You're not being beaten by the system, you're being beaten by your own weakness. The world is full of men who had potential but no drive. Men who had ideas but never execution. Men who could have been great but settled for average because it was easier. Laziness disguises itself as peace. It whispers, you're tired, you deserve rest. But that voice isn't your friend, it's the voice of defeat. It wants you slow, weak, and compliant. It wants you distracted, scrolling, relaxing, waiting for something that will never come. Most people never reach their potential not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack urgency. They act like they have time. They act like life is some sort of waiting room where they can sit until the perfect moment arrives. That moment will never come. The perfect time doesn't exist. The man who moves now, even imperfectly, will always beat the man waiting for the perfect plan. Laziness convinces you that waiting is smart, that rest is recovery. But it's not recovery when you haven't even fought yet. You haven't earned the rest you're taking. You haven't earned the comfort you're living in. Every time you allow laziness to win, you lose a piece of yourself. You lose hunger. You lose fire. You lose momentum. You begin to identify as the kind of person who doesn't follow through. You start to believe that this is just who I am. And once you accept that identity, you're finished. Because laziness isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. It turns sharp men into dull ones. It turns the driven into the defeated. It makes lions live like sheep. People ask why they're not successful. They ask why they're broke, unfit, or unhappy. The answer is simple. They're lazy. Not just physically lazy, but mentally lazy. They don't think deeply, they don't plan clearly, and they don't execute consistently. They're addicted to the easy path, the quick pleasure, the temporary distraction. And the worst part, they defend it. They make excuses for it. They say things like mental health, burnout, self-care, when what they really mean is, I don't want to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is the birthplace of greatness, but laziness tricks you into avoiding it. It promises safety, but it delivers regret. It promises rest, but it delivers emptiness. You can't feel proud when you know deep down you've wasted another day doing nothing. That's why lazy people are miserable. They know what they could be, but they choose not to be it. They carry that guilt, that frustration every single day. And instead of changing, they numb themselves with entertainment, food, or lies. There's nothing noble about laziness. There's nothing empowering about staying comfortable. The world belongs to the man who acts, not the man who waits. You'll never find success sitting still. You'll never find purpose lying in bed. You'll never feel proud of yourself for what you didn't do. The pain of discipline is sharp, but the pain of laziness is endless. You might not feel it today, but you'll feel it when you're older, when you look back and realize how much time you wasted being weak. Laziness doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your future. It just wants to make sure you never become more than what you are right now. It's not just killing your progress. It's killing your potential, your masculinity, your pride, your legacy. Every second you waste feeding it, you're digging your own grave. Because laziness doesn't destroy you in one big explosion, it erodes you bit by bit until there's nothing left of the man you could have been. There's only one thing powerful enough to kill laziness, and that's discipline. You can't negotiate with laziness. You can't reason with it. You can't motivate it away with some cheesy quote or temporary burst of energy. Laziness doesn't respond to feelings, it only fears action. The only antidote to that disease in your mind is to move. Discipline isn't something you feel, it's something you do. It's the muscle that grows every time you act despite your emotions, every time you choose effort over ease, every time you do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. The problem is most people wait until they feel ready. They wait until the mood is right, until the weather is better, until Monday, until the new month. They think success is about timing, but it's not. It's about consistency. It's about showing up when you're exhausted, when you're demotivated, when no one is watching. Discipline is doing it anyway. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it only cares that you follow through. That's why disciplined men always rise above. They don't depend on mood, they depend on movement. When you live by discipline, you stop relying on motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It lights up for a moment and fades. Discipline is a furnace. It keeps burning as long as you feed it. You don't need to be inspired to win, you need to be consistent. Every day you act without emotion, you're building something stronger than motivation. You're building identity. You're teaching your brain, I am a man who gets things done. That identity becomes armor. Once you have it, laziness can't touch you anymore. Discipline is brutal in the beginning. It feels unnatural because you've lived your whole life as a slave to comfort. Your brain has been trained to avoid pain and chase pleasure. So when you start enforcing discipline, your mind resists. It screams, why are we doing this? This is uncomfortable, but that discomfort is where transformation begins. Every rep you push through, every early morning you win, every task you complete, when your body says no, you're rewriting who you are. You're proving to yourself that you control your mind, not the other way around. The secret most people never understand is that discipline creates freedom. You think it's restricting you, but it's actually releasing you. When you're disciplined, you no longer live at the mercy of your emotions. You don't depend on outside validation or fleeting excitement. You become self-sufficient. You start to trust yourself. You stop making promises and start keeping them. That's the difference between a man who dreams and a man who dominates. The dreamer waits for conditions to be perfect. The disciplined man creates perfection through persistence. Discipline is a habit, and like all habits, it compounds. One disciplined day turns into a week turns into a month, and before you know it, it's a lifestyle. You become the kind of man people can't compete with because they don't understand how you keep going. They see you work when they rest. They see you push when they quit. They think you have something they don't, but you don't. You just chose not to listen to your feelings. You learn to move forward no matter what. The truth is, discipline is the purest form of self-respect. When you choose discipline, you're saying, I deserve more than this comfort. I deserve the life I want, not the life that's easy. Discipline separates the men who talk from the men who achieve. You can't buy it. You can't fake it. You have to earn it every single day through your actions. The gym, the business, the grind, those are all training grounds for your will. Every small act of discipline sharpens your focus and hardens your character. Weak men think they can skip the work and still deserve the reward, but discipline doesn't work that way. It's not about luck, it's about repetition. You can't cheat it because discipline sees everything. It knows when you cut corners, it knows when you take the easy path, and it always collects its payment later in failure, regret, and mediocrity. The man who learns discipline, though, becomes untouchable. Because once you've built discipline, you've built control. And once you've built control, you've built freedom. Laziness can't survive in a disciplined mind. It might whisper, it might beg, it might tempt, but it can't win. Because every time you act without hesitation, you kill it a little more. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it's the reason winners exist. It's the difference between the man who says, I wish, and the man who says, I did. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're supposed to be. And the sooner you stop waiting to feel ready, the sooner you start crossing that bridge. The biggest trap that destroys men today isn't failure, it's comfort. You think comfort is peace, but it's a slow death. The modern world has made it so easy to be soft, so easy to waste your life doing nothing, that people don't even realize they're dying inside. Everything around you is designed to make you lazy. You've got food delivered to your door without moving a muscle, entertainment on your screen 24/7, and a phone in your hand feeding you endless distraction. You've been programmed to believe that comfort is the goal, that happiness comes from doing less, from relaxing more, from avoiding pain. But comfort isn't happiness. Comfort is sedation. It's anesthesia for your potential. You have to understand something. No great man was ever built in comfort. Every warrior, every leader, every success story you admire was forged through discomfort. Pain is the sculptor of strength. Struggle is the furnace that creates character. But society teaches the opposite. It tells you to stay safe, to avoid stress, to never take risks. And that's why men are weak. That's why millions of people live quiet, miserable lives, pretending they're content when deep down they know they've settled. Comfort is the enemy of greatness because it gives you just enough pleasure to keep you from changing. It makes you content with mediocrity. Every time you choose the couch over your goals, every time you choose distraction over discipline, you're training your brain to accept average. Comfort doesn't make you happy. It makes you numb. It silences the voice inside you that says, I can be more. That's why when you spend your life chasing comfort, you end up anxious, depressed, and unfulfilled. Because you were never designed to live an easy life. You were designed to hunt, to build, to conquer. You were designed to fight challenges, not avoid them. And when you deny that part of yourself, you lose your purpose. The reason you feel lost, unmotivated, or stuck isn't because life is unfair. It's because you're too comfortable. You've built your life around avoiding pain instead of chasing growth. You want success without struggle, muscles without effort, money without risk, respect without sacrifice. You want the reward without the process. And that's exactly why you don't have what you want. Comfort has tricked you into believing you can escape the grind. But you can't. Every minute you spend running from hard work is a minute you'll pay for later in regret. Real men understand that discomfort is where the power is. The gym hurts, but it builds you. Waking up early is hard, but it sharpens you. Taking risks is scary, but it frees you. Every time you choose to suffer now, you make your future easier. Every time you choose comfort now, you make your future harder. That's the trade-off. You either pay the price today with discipline, or you pay it later with regret. There's no middle ground. And the ones who keep choosing comfort, they always pay later, and it always costs more. You can't escape discomfort, it's part of life. But you can choose the kind that builds you. You can choose to struggle for purpose instead of struggling from regret. You can choose to work for something instead of wasting your energy on nothing. The moment you start embracing discomfort, your entire life changes. Because comfort breeds weakness, but discomfort breeds dominance. The man who's willing to endure pain is the man who wins. He's the one who doesn't quit when it's hard, doesn't fold when it's uncomfortable, and doesn't give in when it's tempting to stop. Comfort sells you lies. It tells you that you're okay where you are. It tells you that rest is deserved even when you've done nothing. It convinces you that your dreams can wait, that success will come eventually, that you have time. But that's how comfort kills. It keeps you waiting, it keeps you resting, and before you know it, your life is gone. Years disappear, and you're left wondering why nothing changed. You weren't unlucky, you were comfortable. You weren't held back. You just refused to be uncomfortable long enough to grow. There's no success without suffering. There's no growth without struggle. And the reason so many people never rise is because they keep chasing the illusion of comfort. But the truth is, you'll never find peace living a comfortable life. You'll only find it when you know you've given everything. When you've earned your rest, when you've looked at the pain, the exhaustion, the sacrifice, and kept going anyway. That's where freedom lives. That's where fulfillment starts. That's where real men are made. Every man is fighting a war within himself, whether he admits it or not. You wake up every morning, and the first battle of the day starts before you even leave your bed. One voice says, get up, grind, move, execute. The other says, relax, you deserve rest, just 5 more minutes. That's not just tiredness you're fighting, that's weakness. That's the enemy inside you trying to take control. Every single decision you make either feeds your strength or feeds your softness. You can't escape that war. You can only choose which side wins. The truth is, most men lose this battle before they even begin their day. They lose it with the snooze button, with the excuses, with the hesitation. They think it's not a big deal, but that's exactly how the enemy wins. Through small, invisible defeats that pile up over time. You lose those little moments of discipline, and suddenly your life becomes one long compromise. You stop chasing, you stop growing, you stop fighting. And then you wonder why you feel weak, why you feel lost, why you feel unfulfilled. It's because you've been surrendering every single day without realizing it. The war within you isn't about comfort versus effort. It's about identity. Who do you want to be? Because every time you choose comfort, you feed the coward inside you. And every time you choose discomfort, every time you act with discipline, every time you push through pain, you feed the warrior. These two versions of you are always at war. One wants to dominate, the other wants to hide. One wants glory, the other wants safety. And you have to decide moment by moment which one gets to live. The lazy man doesn't lose because of lack of talent. He loses because he keeps feeding the coward. He listens to the wrong voice. He gives in to the lies that tell him, "You've done enough. You can rest now. You'll start tomorrow." But that voice doesn't care about your dreams. It cares about keeping you weak. It's not protecting you. It's enslaving you. The coward inside you hates challenge. It hates discomfort. It hates responsibility. It wants to drift through life unnoticed, untested, unfulfilled. But the warrior inside you, it wants chaos. It wants struggle. It wants to see how far you can go before you break. That's the part of you that feels alive when you push your limits, when you conquer a goal, when you achieve something that once seemed impossible. This war doesn't stop when you reach success. In fact, it gets louder. The higher you climb, the more the coward fights back. It'll whisper, "You've made it. Take it easy now." That's when most men fall. They think the battle is over, but it's never over. The warrior doesn't rest when he wins. He stays ready. He knows that laziness waits for the moment he lets his guard down. The warrior knows that discipline isn't a phase, it's a lifestyle. Every day is a test, and every day you're either winning or losing the war inside your mind. No one else can fight this war for you. No one can make you disciplined. No one can force you to grow. You either choose to rise or you choose to stay weak. That's what defines a man. Not his success, not his wealth, not his words, but the daily battles he wins against himself. You can conquer the world, but if you can't conquer your own weakness, you're still a slave. You can have money, fame, and power, but if you can't command your own thoughts and actions, you're still ruled by laziness. True freedom comes when you dominate yourself. The moment you decide to fight back, something changes. You start noticing the small wins. You start choosing action over hesitation. You start craving the challenge instead of running from it. That's when you realize that strength isn't built in the gym or in the world. It's built in your mind. Every rep, every early morning, every hard choice, it's all mental warfare. The body just follows orders. The mind decides whether you're weak or unbreakable. The war within you is never fair. The coward will always try to make its voice sound rational. It'll say, "You're tired." It'll say, "You deserve this break." It'll say, "You'll do it later." But the warrior's voice doesn't argue. It acts, it moves, it executes. The difference between the man who dreams and the man who dominates is which voice he obeys. Every day you have that choice, to feed your weakness or to feed your power. Because if you don't kill the coward inside you, it will kill the warrior. And when that happens, your life becomes nothing more than a collection of wasted potential. The biggest lie people tell themselves is that they have time. You don't. You think you're young. You think you've got years to figure things out. You think there's always tomorrow. But one day, you'll wake up and realize tomorrow never came. Time is the most ruthless currency you'll ever deal with. It doesn't pause, it doesn't refund, and it doesn't negotiate. Every second you waste scrolling, sleeping in, or doing nothing is a piece of your life you'll never get back. Laziness tricks you into believing there's no rush, that you can start later, that you have plenty of time. But time doesn't care about your excuses. It keeps moving whether you're chasing your goals or wasting your life. People love to comfort themselves with the illusion of someday. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll change my life. But someday doesn't exist. It's a fantasy you use to justify procrastination. You think you're planning? You're not. You're stalling. You're giving your dreams a death sentence disguised as patience. And while you're sitting there waiting for the right moment, Someone else out there is grinding, hustling, and taking what could have been yours. The difference between winners and losers isn't time, it's how they use it. The winner treats every second like a weapon. The loser treats every second like a toy. Time is the one thing that doesn't care who you are. You can be rich or broke, disciplined or lazy. It's still 24 hours for everyone. The difference is what you do with it. Most people think they're busy, but they're not. They're just distracted. They mistake movement for progress. They fill their day with nonsense and call it being productive. But when you look closely, they're doing nothing that actually moves them closer to their goals. You're not running out of time because life is unfair. You're running out of time because you waste it. Every hour you spend doing things that don't matter is an hour stolen from your future. You can't buy back time. You can buy cars, watches, houses, even attention, but not time. Every minute gone is gone forever. The problem is, people don't feel the loss right away. If you waste money, your bank account reminds you. But when you waste time, you don't feel it until years later. Then it hits you when you see others succeed while you're still in the same place. When you realize you've spent more time planning your weekends than planning your future, that's when regret shows up. That's when you finally understand that time doesn't forgive laziness. It punishes it. The clock is always ticking. You can ignore it, but you can't escape it. One day, you'll look in the mirror and realize you're not who you could have been. You'll feel that weight in your chest, that quiet guilt that whispers, "You had time, but you wasted it." That's what destroys men, not failure, but regret, because regret has no cure. You can't rewind the clock. You can't relive a wasted decade. The only way to beat time is to respect it. Treat every second like gold. Treat every morning like a countdown, because that's exactly what it is. Your life is a countdown. The successful understand something simple. Time rewards urgency. It rewards action. It punishes hesitation. The man who acts today will always outrun the man who waits for tomorrow. You don't need perfect plans. You don't need endless preparation. You need movement. Every day you delay, someone else is getting stronger, smarter, richer, while you're getting weaker, slower, and poorer. You're losing not because you're unlucky, but because you think you have time to win later. You don't. Later is where losers live. Time doesn't stop for anyone. It doesn't slow down because you're tired. It doesn't care about your feelings, your pain, or your excuses. It just moves. And the more you waste, the harder it becomes to catch up. Every wasted day compounds into a wasted life. You can't win the game of life if you keep playing like there's no clock. Winners play with urgency. They know every second counts. They know that one more hour of work today could save them years of regret later. They understand that the clock isn't their enemy, it's their motivator. You need to start living like time is hunting you, because it is. Every day you wake up, you're closer to the end. That's not negativity, it's reality. The only way to win against time is to outwork it, to move faster, to do more, to waste nothing. You don't need more years, you need more intensity. You need to stop treating time like a luxury and start treating it like oxygen, because one day it'll run out. And when it does, the only question left will be, did you use it to build the life you wanted, or did you waste it pretending you had more of it? You want to kill laziness, you have to understand one brutal truth. Comfort is your enemy. It feels good, it feels safe, it feels easy, but it's the very thing destroying your potential. Comfort whispers to you in the morning, stay in bed. It tempts you when you're tired, you can do it tomorrow. It convinces you that small breaks don't matter, that skipping one day won't change anything. But that's the trap. That's how laziness wins, not with a loud fight, but with a quiet surrender. It doesn't steal your time all at once. It takes it piece by piece, hour by hour, until one day you wake up and realize you become a shadow of the person you could have been. Laziness isn't just about lying in bed or watching Netflix. It's mental decay. It's your brain getting weaker every time you choose comfort over challenge. You think you're relaxing, but you're training your mind to quit. Every time you say, I'll do it later, you're building a habit of hesitation. Every time you scroll instead of work, you're feeding your weakness. And weakness doesn't disappear, it grows. It spreads into every part of your life until you no longer recognize yourself. The truth is, people don't lose to others, They lose to their own comfort. They lose to the version of themselves that wants to stay safe. You want to know what separates winners from average people. Winners get addicted to discomfort. They look for struggle. They chase pain because they understand something most people don't. The harder it feels, the more it's worth doing. They don't run from the grind, they run toward it. You think success comes from motivation. It doesn't. It comes from discipline, from doing what you hate like you love it. Motivation fades, discipline stays. You can't rely on feeling ready. You'll never feel ready. You'll never wake up one day and magically love the hard work. You just have to do it anyway. Every time you choose action over comfort, you're killing laziness. Every time you push through exhaustion, every time you reject excuses, every time you say, "I'll do it now," instead of "I'll do it later," you're building power. Discipline is forged in those small, painful choices. That's how you become unstoppable, not because you never feel lazy, but because you never surrender to it. You act despite it. You move even when your mind screams to stop. That's how warriors are made. That's how kings are built. You think you need more rest, but what you really need is more purpose. Rest doesn't recharge you, progress does. Look at your life and be honest. How many opportunities have you lost because you were too lazy to start? How many chances have slipped through your hands because you told yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow"? That's the cost of laziness. It doesn't just waste your time, it steals your future. It kills your confidence. It makes you believe you're not capable, when in reality, you're just undisciplined. The real tragedy isn't that you failed, it's that you never even tried. People love to talk about potential, but potential means nothing if you never use it. You don't deserve anything until you've worked for it. Every day you have two choices: build yourself or destroy yourself. There's no middle ground. Every lazy decision is a brick in the wall that keeps you trapped. Every disciplined decision is a hammer that breaks it down. You either become the architect of your future or the prisoner of your comfort. That's why lazy people always feel miserable. They're not tired from doing too much. They're tired from doing nothing. The body may rest, but the soul rots. Deep down, you know you were made for more. You feel it every time you waste a day, every time you ignore that voice inside that says you could be doing better. So stop looking for balance. Stop looking for motivation. You don't need them. You need to move. You need to fight. You need to remind yourself every morning that comfort is a lie. You weren't born to sit still. You were born to conquer. You think you can wait until you feel like it. You'll wait forever. Discipline is doing it when you don't feel like it. It's showing up when it's boring. It's choosing the grind over the couch. That's how you win. You have to kill your laziness before it kills your dreams, because it will. Laziness doesn't take prisoners, it takes everything. It takes your potential, your success, your peace. It's not harmless, it's deadly. The only way to stop it is to act, to move, to fight back with everything you've got. Every moment you waste, every excuse you make, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're killing the man you're meant to become. Laziness isn't just about doing nothing. It's about letting your potential rot in silence. Life doesn't wait for the weak. It rewards those who move, who fight, who refuse to be stopped by their own excuses. Every second is a chance to choose discipline, to reject comfort, to build something real. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It only respects results. You have one life, one shot, and one mission: to destroy the weakness inside you before it destroys you. Stand up, move forward, and never let laziness touch you again, because the second you do, it'll take everything you've ever dreamed of becoming.